The Backrooms might be the most important internet horror story to date. And that's because if you haven't heard or been living under a rock, The Backrooms, which was originally an internet horror concept online, is now being made into a full-length movie for the big screen. But I'm going to explain some of the fears I have, but also some of the wants I want to see for the upcoming movie set to release May 29th of 2026. So at the time of me filming this month. Hi, my name is Raf Polo Laurent, and if you're no stranger to this channel, you know we love internet horror in this circle of YouTube. And while I'm so excited for the upcoming Backrooms movie, I do have some fears, but also some wishes I would like to see out of this. And I'll explain some of my concerns. But I'm sure you guys have seen other horror-related channels talk about the Backrooms movie, such as Wendigoon, but a lot of the commentary I have seen online has really stemmed from the origins of the Backrooms, the lore, kind of what made it popping on the internet, rather than the movie itself. And that's what I want to focus on in today's video. Go check out their videos too. There was a lot of good tidbits, especially on the background of the Backrooms, and I'm going to touch on it a little bit. But the main focus of today's video is going to be specifically on the movie, The Backrooms. Make that the highlight first and foremost. So without further ado, pop out your energy drinks. Today I got a Ghost energy drink, not sponsored, but you guys know I like my energy drinks while I film, especially in the late hours of 3 a.m. I have work the next day. That shit's good. Leave a comment down below what your favorite energy drink is. I would love to try some new ones. But if you've been following my content for a while now, you know I made a video involving internet horror, and in that video I mentioned a horror ARG that got turned into a full-length film on the big screen. No, not you, mascot horror slop. I'm referring to the film Skinamarink. Be sure to go check out that video, but for those of you who are not well versed with the Skinamarink full-length film, it was a low-budget horror film that was very experimental, using a lot of concepts from YouTube-style horror, and applying those concepts to the big screen, using things such as still images, creepy background music, and overall letting your imagination do a lot of the legwork for the stuff that you're seeing on the screen. Like I said, it's a very experimental film, so I don't blame some of the criticisms, but for me personally, it was a really good film. It really left me unsettled after watching it. There are two types of people that walk away from a horror ARG film like that though. You either had chills and were creeped out from all the visuals, while your imagination ran rampant on what you thought was going on. Or you thought the movie was genuinely trash because you're a chud. I don't mean that, but in all honesty, jokes aside, I get some of the valid criticisms from the film. Again, it was a very experimental film, I admit that. But depending how you look at it, I personally enjoyed the film, and I got genuine chills. Unlike watching a AAA high-budget horror film such as something like Smile. But here lies the fear that I have for a movie like The Backrooms. I do want it to succeed. I don't want it to just be something experimental and then get forgotten about. While I appreciated the experimental angle Kyle Edwards, the creator of Skinamarink, had using his vision for what he wanted the film to be, I also feel like the lack of effort to try and appeal to a wider audience definitely made studios think twice about using some of the aesthetics of internet horror in a big budget horror film. Gone are the days of films like Jurassic Park 1, where they were relying heavily on innovative horror elements, to a now blockbuster action slop franchise instead. Side topic for a second, definitely check out this guy's video for the use of dinosaurs in horror. He goes into great detail, and I thought it was an awesome explanation of the topic, because again, remember how scary Jurassic Park 1 was? And then it kind of just strays away from that as it gains more popularity and as the sequels come out. So yeah, check out his video if you want to learn more about horror as it pertains with dinosaurs in the movie industry or online. But The Backrooms is going to have to face a delicate balance of implementing your art to the film, but while also appealing to a wider audience than the Skinamarink movie did. While I feel like horror films in general as a genre has skewed too far to corny tropes such as the jump scare, the all reliable, and it doesn't bring me the same fear I have with internet horror, like truly scary, atmospheric, liminal horror. And if there's one critique I have of the Skinamarink, is that it was almost too good. It was too experimental. And that kind of movie didn't really ease into the internet concepts for the mainstream audience. I almost feel like in a different world where internet concepts are all over the horror genre, the evolution has happened. I do feel like in that kind of world, Skinamarink would have done very good. But the perplexities of internet horror kind of scared the masses from it, in my opinion. Kind of like it kind of just like happened too soon. And who knows, maybe years from now, it could be seen as an even bigger staple in the horror genre, laying the foundations for a movie like The Backrooms. Even if it wasn't a blockbuster success. I still recommend you checking out the film if you can, because it's still an awesome watch if you appreciate horror on the internet. But as it pertains to The Backrooms, I want it to succeed is my point. And I want more studios to turn and look at the Backrooms film and go, there is something to these internet concepts and we have to implement it into our movies. And my hope is that this film finds this delicate balance of what made the Backrooms big in the first place. I wanted to appeal to my chronic online horror enthusiast brain, while at the same time, if I'm watching it with my friends who are going into this blind, have them enjoy it too. Because certainly in my journey of internet horror, I didn't just get into horror ARGs right away. Again, you can check out this video that showcases step by step on my journey through internet horror. But I also believe that if there's anyone that can find this delicate balance, it's someone like Kane Pixels, who has found a good medium online with prominence and also implementing really good concepts for his work. So let's take a step back for a moment. This is all stemming from a photo from 2019 that was posted in a 4chan board or posting, with this as the caption. And it works so well because it's such a simple concept where something is so familiar, but you've never been there. Yet that familiarity still feels so wrong, like corrupted nostalgia. The liminality feels ungodly empty in this one photo, and Kane Pixels took that concept and transitioned this photo into a labyrinth of yellow and fluorescent lights. I know I said I wasn't going to dwell too much into the Backrooms lore, but I have to briefly touch on it to explain what it is that I want from the film. During the Kane Pixels era of the Backrooms, there was a major boom online with liminal horror. Some of you may recognize some of these shots and pictures, and I want these shots to be sort of a foundation for the setting in this movie. The setting is very important in capturing that liminality. But remember, Kane Pixels didn't create the Backrooms, but rather his interpretation of it from this collective collaboration from the online community when it comes to liminal horror on the internet is what Kane Pixel used to create his work. And I certainly credit Kane Pixels to getting the Backrooms to another level on the internet. I mean, just look at some of these views, 77 million views. But certainly this is what I want to see in the upcoming film, the foundation of what made the Backrooms blow up online, the use of liminality, the use of the setting in this unknown world. I want that to be a staple in his movie for sure. And hell, if we're getting a full-length film, give me little bits and pieces into what Kane Pixel wants this world to be in his version of the Backrooms, which we got through his YouTube videos. But imagine a full-length film to truly explore the Backrooms. Like, my curiosity is just being tested right now. Now, to address some concerns I've seen on the online community about the upcoming Backrooms movie, there's a certain sect of backroom enthusiasts who are they're like begging for no entities, no weird rules, no to certain rooms. And to those people, I just say,
stop it. Get some help.
Like, listen, I'm all for keeping the foundation of the Backrooms in liminal horror, right? Am I asking for Backrooms level 1 to 100 styles and tropes? No. I think a lot of the concepts from that style of the Backrooms, levels 1 through 100, and there's like different things going on. Some concepts that just get very ridiculous, and some of the entities in these different levels, I think it's a little bit corny, but I did get a lot of entertainment out of it. I would check out this guy's video. I'll put him up on the screen. This video is where I first found out about things like the concept of almond water. The pool rooms was pretty interesting, and this guy's video is always in my algo, and At this point, I've watched it so many times, but it's truly a very entertaining breakdown of what the community has come up with on different levels of the Backrooms. But it's not Kane Pixel's vision, in my opinion, of what he wants the Backrooms to be, but addressing some of these criticisms online, like this sect of the Backrooms community that, like, could you just imagine a horror film just devoid of monsters, creatures, or a threat? I think the threat is fine. I mean, hell, even Kane Pixel's online Backrooms stories, they had some lore involving entities. My point is, we don't have to be such a perfectionist when it comes to what the Backrooms should or shouldn't be. At the end of the day, it should derive of what Kane Pixels already came up with on the internet. That's a good foundation already to start off with. And I think he should just expand that into a full-length film. I'm not asking for a movie like Skinamarink, where it's just very experimental, liminal horror, using a lot of your imagination, doing a bunch of the legwork. For this movie to be a success, we are going to have to be a little bit pragmatic and use some of the structure that makes a good film in 2026, but ease into the internet concepts. I think the main goal is to make sure that this movie is a success. So as time goes on, you can use more internet concepts, get even more funky with it, get more experimental. As the audience learns this new way to like intake horror, it's not just a bunch of jump scares and the music gets quiet and something big happens. Horror isn't that one-dimensional, but certainly a lot of the films nowadays, especially in horror, are very one-dimensional when it comes to trying to scare you or spook you, with very few exceptions. But if anyone can find this delicate balance, it's Kane Pixels, like I said before, and also the help of Studio A24. My god, I just gotta shout out this studio for a second. Correct me if I'm wrong, but out of all the studios in the movie industry, and especially with the horror genre, they are certainly the most innovative. Like some really good horror films that they've produced, things like Midsummer, Hereditary, thrillers like The Long Walk, which is not necessarily a horror film, but it just shows their versatility, their willingness to take risks. And out of all the studios I would want Kane Pixels to work with, you know, studios like Blumhouse Productions or whatever other horror studio, I'm glad that Kane is working with what I consider, given a little curve in the industry, one of the more innovative studios in the industry. But why is this such a smart move for Studio A24? Well, in a world where you get a Lord of the Rings spin-off, or a Star Wars spin-off of a spin-off, or a Game of Thrones spin-off of a spin-off of a spin-off, the movie industry, hell, even the gaming industry, both industries are certainly starving for new IP. We just live in this endless cycle where studios just make new stories and new movies about already existing IP, and it sort of like eats itself. But studios and companies are afraid to make leaps, take risks. And with art, you know, you really can't just play it safe all the time, especially in the movie and gaming industry. I want to shout out another channel, Actman. He's really good when it comes to exposing this concept in the gaming industry and just how devoid of risk and sort of stagnant the industry has gotten, especially with AAA gaming. So be sure to check out his videos and channel. But we have reached a point where all of this safe, non-risk moves have oversaturated both industries. Like, do we really need a backstory for IP that has happened in the 80s? So Studio A24 taking this opportunity for new horror IP, aka the Backrooms, is good for Kane Pixels, it's good for Studio A24, and it's good for the movie industry to start evolving to some of the internet concepts that truly brings out the fear in audiences, unlike other mainstream horror movies. You know, I'm checking out some of these trailers now. It looks very interesting the way that they give us little bits and pieces of the Backrooms. I like the opening sequence with all the furniture just in one spot of the fucking room. I think that's pretty good detail to show the audience, along with the character that we're following in the trailer, that something's out of ordinary here. And the main character in this film talking to his therapist who's having a hard time believing this concept, which then gives us a different point of view of how we're now digesting this film by another character using like a older camera, like Kane Pixels did in his Backroom story online. Like I said, giving a sort of found footage and normal cinematography, talking about that delicate balance that I want Kane Pixels to find. This is one of the things that encourages me about wanting to go see this film. And you know what's crazy? I think if my research is correct, isn't Kane Pixels like 20 fucking years old? And he's directing a film? That's awesome. Like, I'm so happy for the guy. When I was 20, I was having like shower beers or something like that. So he's certainly doing a lot better at 20. I can't imagine the amount of pressure though that a 20-year-old has in this, and I don't want to add to it more. All I ask is that he does his best and just stay true to what made the Backrooms popping in the first place. So I look forward to this movie. These are my wants and fears that I have for the upcoming film. I want it to be successful. I truly see an opportunity for an evolution in the movie industry as it pertains to horror, and I believe Kane Pixels can remain truthful to some of what made the Backrooms scary and unsettling in the first place, while also doing his best to make sure this movie does well with the general audience. And again, that's crazy because he's only 20 years old, but look what he's done online at an even younger age. So the kid's got talent. But let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Did I miss anything that you wanted mentioned? Leave a like and subscribe. It helps the channel grow. And to address the elephant in the room, yeah, this is definitely a new setup. Did you guys notice the monster sign over there? I really like energy drinks, man. But yeah, to address the elephant in the room, this is a new setup. This is a new background from where I normally film because I recently moved. I'm still working on the setup, how I want it to look and stuff, so just stay with me if the background changes over time. But that's why there's a gap from the last video I uploaded to this one. It's because, you know what? Moving is actually fucking exhausting and time consuming. But we're back to the weekly uploads. Gonna try and up the ante a little bit since I had a little time gap. But since I'm back on the hamster wheel, I definitely want to be pumping out videos again. But I'm your internet bro, Raph. And until the next video, I am outski.